Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before I get going with part 2 of this video series, I just want to take a moment to thank our friend Ray very much for your donation to our channel's PayPal account. Thank you. This channel is completely funded by your donations to the channel, guys, so I really do appreciate it. This is part 2 of a video series on healing. In the first video, I talked a bit about the things we're healing from, and wow, what an assortment of things we're healing from. But when I initially got free from Trevor and realized how truly damaged my life was, I started looking at healing, trying to read books, watching videos, reading blogs, and what I felt like I was coming up against was a lot of gaslighting. Here we've got some people saying it's mental illness, then you run into someone like Dr. Robert Hare, who is considered the global authority, who says they are absolutely not mentally ill, they're not even human, and he calls them interspecies predators. We've got the conflicting information that the narc's worst fear is abandonment, yet they push everyone to abandon them. And then you've got that story about how the narc isn't real. The narc doesn't even exist. Well, let me tell you, Captain Little Junk seemed pretty fucking real to me. Of course, at the time I started doing research about healing, I had really just left Trevor and really was still in that pink bubble. The bubble hadn't yet burst, and I really wasn't sure of what I was dealing with. So by the time the bubble burst and all of it just started to fall on top of me, I mean, it was like a mountain. I could barely breathe under the weight of it. But I really did realize how scrambled my mind was, how gaslit I had been, and coming across all this conflicting information, as far as healing goes, I found it really challenging. And the other thing too was I kept coming up, against these blogs, 4 ways to heal, 5 steps to healing. Well, holy shit, there was 1,000 things wrong with me. The quickie 4-step guide to solving a million problems just didn't seem fitting. I do believe that education is important, but I also believe there's a line, and we have to draw a line in the sand to protect our minds. I mean, at the point most of us begin our research, we are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, cognitive dissonance. We've definitely suffered some mindfuckery. So understanding narcissism in the realm of reason and logic makes good sense for a victim. But when you cross over, as I know many empaths do, and this is a real problem with empaths, an empath is not going to be willing to take the risk of misjudging someone. You're probably still in a place where you're doubting everything. So when you cross over too far, try and look too deeply into the mind of a narcissist. They've got that saying, to really understand someone, you got to put their shoes on. You got to stand in their shoes, walk a mile in their shoes. Well, guess what? Narc shoes don't fit our feet. There's no way to get those fucking shoes on our feet. So you are never going to be able to stand in a narc's shoes. And to even attempt to stand in the narc's shoes, to really understand what's going on in their dark, twisted, demon-possessed mind, to me, is more detrimental than beneficial. I believe when someone says to educate yourself, I think they need to add, educate yourself in the realm of logic and reason. Do not cross over. Do not try and get in the narc's head. Do not try and get the narc's shoes on your feet, because they ain't going on. For me, the most important aspects of educating myself about narcissism, when I do these videos, this isn't based on some educational process I've been through. This is about my personal experience with a narcissist. So I guess for me, the key points were, Trevor never loved me. I was supply, and it wasn't personal. I'll tell you, it felt like it was personal, except I know now, after meeting all of you, that we've all experienced the same thing. You've heard your personal story, your deepest, darkest pain. You've heard it coming out of my mouth, and I've heard my story, my suffering, my pain, my most private, intimate details of my relationship with Trevor. I've heard coming out of the mouths of perfect strangers in countries across the pond. I really felt like a big piece of the information package for me was really internalizing the fact that it wasn't personal. I could have been anybody. I was supply. Yes, that was very hurtful at first, but it gave me an opportunity to kind of remove myself, to recognize that Trevor had abused the partner previous to me. He was going to abuse the next one after me. And really, it wasn't about me. I was supply, just like drugs are what a junkie's after. That's all it was. And yes, hurtful, for sure. Hard to understand at first. But as I began to really accept that as the truth, it allowed me to just remove myself and look at the situation more objectively. A really important factor for me, and it was a bit of a challenge kind of coming to terms with it because of all the conflicting information. I mean, on one hand, you're being told that this person that you believe you're madly in love with doesn't even exist. So now you're told to just kind of let it go because they're not even real. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, many victims cut themselves off because of statements like that and don't allow themselves the right to grieve, to experience this loss, and to be angry. I mean, holy crap. By the time I found my anger, I was so relieved. I had been wallowing in sadness. And guess what? When someone treats you in this disgusting, vile manner, when someone lies to you, deceives you, cheats on you, steals from you, hits you, rapes you, I mean, my God, the fucking list goes on and on. You should be angry. And too many victims are not fully experiencing what is well-deserved anger. Now, I'm not saying get mad and stay mad. I'm saying if what's happened to you warrants authentic and genuine anger, you are denying yourself a big part of the healing process if you do not fully experience and internalize the grief, the loss, and the fucking anger. A big piece of the healing puzzle for me was health. Now, I do believe it was the second time I left Trevor, and what I found myself doing the second time, I was absolutely shattered from being with him, though I did go back many times after the second time, but back to time two. I was going to work, getting into my pajamas, getting into bed, sitting, crying, you know, and drinking a bottle of wine. And I'll tell you, I weigh all of 110 pounds soaking wet, so drinking a bottle of wine got me quite a fucking headache going to work every day the next day, so I'd feel like shit at work. And well, that went on for about a week, and I did give that up because it's not really well suited to my lifestyle. I eat a fairly healthy raw food diet. I tend to stick to organic foods. I don't eat a lot of meat, so what the fuck was I doing slamming a bottle of wine every night? I mean, it just wasn't in my nature to be living that type of lifestyle, so I was able to reel that in very quickly. But I know a lot of you are really hitting the booze hard, and a lot of you are really caught up now with barbiturates and a lot of antipsychotics and antidepressants. So if there's any possibility that you can see your way clear to stop that behavior, you're going to do yourself a world of good. You're not helping yourself. You're victimizing yourself now. The narc took so much. Don't do this to yourself. Please do not. Get on a good diet. Get out, get some exercise. If you don't want to leave the house, run on the spot, play some music, dance around the house. Please do not let yourself get sucked down yet another black hole. It's a long, hard climb out of the black hole of narcissistic abuse for you to make it to the top and then throw yourself back down a hole of booze and barbiturates and, you know, eating poorly and no exercise. You deserve a lot better than that. Now, I know firsthand from personal experience that attempting to live on chocolate and wine seems like a good idea once you get free from a narcissist. It truly isn't. Okay, guys, I'm skipping off to the next part, and I'll see you in a minute. On to part 3. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you're having a great narc-free day.